I've been getting more into psychiatry lately. Big plug for Dr. Jordan Peterson. If he's listening, I love you and all of your work.
I've heard you do this on your podcast.
Yeah, I love Dr. Jordan Peterson.
We can go there.
And he was talking about this concept of like agreeable people avoid the more agreeable you are in your nature, you're going to avoid conflict,
yeah,
right?
You're not going to get as far in life.
That's just natural. And you're not going to get as far. But I think not only do I think what the church has come to in modern catechetics makes people more agreeable, but I think we can go back to the educational system, right? You're taught in school that you need to be this agreeable person. Like you need to share your toys with the other kindergartners. You need to be agreeable and work in team projects, and you need to be agreeable and accept that what you're being taught is true. And then when you get to that level of agreeableness, you don't get confrontational to confront the issues that maybe there are issues. And how long are we going to let this go in our society or in the West? I'm just going to speak generally in the West. I think all of the West is just falling off the wagon. And how far are we going to let it go? And then you see the opposite side, the people who don't allow that to go in the East. You look at China, you look at Russia, you look at countries out there, right? They've gone too far to like disagreeableness where people are taking too much of confrontation, right? So where's this blend? Like how do we blend the East and the West again, right?
Maybe it's a healthy between collaboration and competition.
Yeah,
right? When
absolutely.
everything is so competition focused, that's where you get, and I've touched on this with a licensed counselor in a recent episode, Dan Lawson. He really made the plug that we're bred to become consumers, and we ought to be much more than that, right? We need a relational component, and we also need that faith component, spirituality. And so it's not all about being competitive, right? Because if you're only doing the education system in a way that breeds, people that are vying for the spot, in their workforce, that's too much on one swing of the pendulum, right? So on one side, you've got all of this competition, this focus on, getting the next job, vying against everybody else that's in your space. And then you swing the pendulum into the other side, right, with the agreeableness, to your point, where, it's like collaboration and get along and this and that. And we're talking about where do you find the balance, right? Like, you do need both. Mm-hmm. You can't just have... Jordan Peterson talks about how when you raise young children, you do tend to find that by default, they are vicious. They don't, like to play nice. They don't like to share. And you have to develop them out of that. You have to teach collaboration or else you're going to get psychopaths. But you also don't, you don't disavow competition. Right. Mm-hmm. You mentioned you're all about capitalism. You're not really going to have that if you don't have people that are competing for making sure that they actually provide the best product or service or whatever it is that they have to add value. So, yeah, to your point, there does need to be that balance, right?
To that Jordan Peterson point, you mentioned be a monster, just learn how to control it. So you can be that extreme when it's called upon to be that extreme, but you need to know when to put yourself in the cage, metaphorically speaking.
Flipping some tables.
Where have we seen that before?
Okay. All right.